powerful winter storm sweeping across the Twin Cities triggered a major traffic accident on Thursday morning, leaving dozens injured, shutting down key roadways, and exposing once again the challenges St. Paul faces when extreme weather collides with aging infrastructure and heavy commuter traffic. The incident occurred shortly before 8:10 a.m. on U.S. Highway 52 near the Lafayette Bridge, a critical artery connecting downtown St. Paul with its southern suburbs. According to the Minnesota State Patrol, a sudden burst of heavy snow combined with strong crosswinds caused multiple vehicles to lose control simultaneously, resulting in a chain reaction crash involving more than 35 cars, SUVs, and several commercial trucks. Authorities described the scene as chaotic and dangerous, with vehicles scattered across icy lanes. Some spun sideways, others pushed into guardrails, and several resting in snow-filled embankments. Emergency responders from Ramsey County, St. Paul Fire Department, and surrounding municipalities rushed to the scene, navigating treacherous conditions to reach stranded motorists. Meteorologists from the National Weather Service, NWS, reported that the storm intensified rapidly as it moved across the Mississippi River Valley, producing what they classified as near-instantaneous whiteout conditions. Snowfall rates exceeded 2 to 3 inches per hour, and wind gusts reached 35 miles per hour, creating swirling snow that made it nearly impossible for drivers to see more than a few feet ahead. "It felt like driving into a wall of white," said Marcus Ellison, a delivery driver who witnessed the initial collisions. One moment traffic was moving slowly but steadily, and the next moment everything disappeared. Cars started braking, sliding, and crashing into each other. There was no time to react.
Crazy.
The Minnesota Department of Transportation, MnDOT, confirmed that plow crews had been active since early morning, but the storm's intensity overwhelmed efforts to keep major highways clear. Snow quickly reaccumulated on treated surfaces, and drifting snow repeatedly covered lanes that had been plowed minutes earlier. Despite the scale of the crash, authorities reported no confirmed fatalities as of Thursday evening. More than 25 individuals were transported to local hospitals, including Regions Hospital and United Hospital, with injuries ranging from minor bruises to serious fractures. Several others were treated on-site for hypothermia and shock after being stranded in their vehicles for extended periods. Rescue crews faced significant challenges. Temperatures hovered around 9 degrees Fahrenheit minus 13 degrees Celsius, and wind chills dipped below zero, increasing the risk of frostbite for both victims and responders. Firefighters used hydraulic tools to free several individuals trapped inside crushed vehicles, while paramedics set up temporary warming shelters inside ambulances and MnDOT trucks. St. Paul Fire Chief Brian Howard praised the coordinated response, noting that the combination of ice, snow, and low visibility made every step hazardous. "Our teams worked under extremely difficult conditions," Howard said, "but thanks to their quick action and the cooperation of multiple agencies, we were able to prevent this from becoming a far more tragic event." The crash forced authorities to close multiple lanes of Highway 52 and temporarily shut down the Lafayette Bridge, one of the city's most heavily used commuter routes. Traffic backups stretched for miles, spilling into downtown St. Paul and affecting major intersections along Kellogg Boulevard, 7th Street, and Interstate 94. Commuters reported delays of up to 2 hours, with some abandoning their vehicles temporarily to seek shelter in nearby businesses. Metro transit buses were rerouted, and several morning routes experienced significant delays. Local businesses and schools also felt the impact. Several St. Paul public schools announced late starts or early dismissals, while delivery services and logistics companies reported widespread disruptions.
correct me if I'm wrong here, but
Dr. Hannah Lindstrom, a civil engineering professor at the University of Minnesota, explained that the city's aging bridges, narrow highway corridors, and high traffic density create vulnerabilities during extreme weather. Highways like 52 were designed decades ago, long before we saw the kind of rapid intensification storms we're experiencing today, Lindstrom said. When visibility collapses in seconds, even the best drivers and the best plow crews can't prevent accidents. We need to invest in adaptive infrastructure and real-time warning systems. The NWS issued additional winter storm warnings for the Twin Cities region, cautioning that blowing snow, icy surfaces, and sub-zero wind chills will continue through the weekend. Authorities urged residents to avoid unnecessary travel and to prepare for potential delays in public transportation and emergency services. Lieutenant Sarah Donovan of the Minnesota State Patrol emphasized that even experienced winter drivers can be caught off guard. People underestimate how quickly conditions can change, Donovan said. You might start your commute on clear pavement and find yourself in a whiteout minutes later. Slow down, increase following distance, and stay alert. A massive and fast-intensifying snowstorm swept across Minnesota on Thursday, unleashing blizzard-level conditions, crippling transportation networks, and prompting widespread emergency responses as residents faced one of the most disruptive winter events in recent years. The storm, which meteorologists described as historic in scale and speed, blanketed large portions of the state with heavy snow, fierce winds, and dangerously low visibility. The system began forming late Wednesday night over the Dakotas before rapidly strengthening as it moved eastward into Minnesota. By early Thursday morning, snowfall rates had surged to more than 2 to 3 inches per hour in several regions, with wind gusts exceeding 40 miles per hour. The combination created whiteout conditions across highways, rural roads, and urban corridors, catching many commuters off guard. The Minnesota Department of Transportation, MnDOT, reported that nearly every major highway in the state experienced significant delays, closures, or multi-vehicle accidents. Interstate 94, Interstate 35, and U.S. Highway 52 were among the hardest hit, with plow crews struggling to keep up as snow quickly reaccumulated on treated surfaces.
As you can see, there's a snowbank that they piled up.
In the Twin Cities metro area, traffic slowed to a crawl as visibility dropped to near zero. Several ramps along I-35E and I-494 were temporarily closed due to jackknifed semis and stranded vehicles. Rural areas faced even more severe challenges, with drifting snow creating chest-high barriers on some county roads. We're dealing with a storm that is overwhelming even our most experienced crews, said MnDOT spokesperson Karen Lutz. The snow is falling faster than we can clear it, and the wind is undoing our work within minutes. We're asking people to stay home unless absolutely necessary. Public transportation also suffered major disruptions. Metro Transit suspended several bus routes, and the Green Line light rail experienced delays due to frozen switches and reduced visibility along the tracks. In Duluth, the steep hillside streets became nearly impassable, forcing the temporary suspension of several transit services. Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport, MSP, canceled more than 300 flights throughout the day, with dozens more delayed. Runways required constant plowing, and de-icing operations were stretched to their limits as aircraft accumulated ice within minutes of exposure. Travelers described chaotic scenes inside the terminals, with long lines at rebooking counters and families camping out near gates as they waited for updates. It's frustrating, but you can't blame anyone, said traveler Melissa Harding, who was trying to fly home to Denver. You look outside and it's just a wall of white. No plane should be taking off in that. The storm's powerful winds caused widespread power outages, particularly in central and southern Minnesota. Xcel Energy reported more than 40,000 customers without electricity at the peak of the storm, with crews working through the night to restore service. Downed power lines, fallen tree branches, and ice-coated equipment complicated repair efforts. In Rochester, Mayo Clinic activated emergency protocols to ensure uninterrupted power to critical medical equipment. Several smaller hospitals across the state relied on backup generators as utility crews struggled to reach damaged lines. Water treatment facilities in a handful of rural communities also reported temporary disruptions due to frozen intake systems and power fluctuations. Local officials urged residents to conserve water until systems stabilized. With conditions deteriorating rapidly, school districts across Minnesota announced closures or early dismissals. Minneapolis Public Schools, St. Paul Public Schools, and dozens of suburban districts shifted to remote learning for the day. Many rural schools canceled classes entirely due to impassable roads. Businesses followed suit, with offices across the Twin Cities sending employees home early. Several major retailers closed their doors for the day, and delivery services suspended operations in multiple counties. State government offices in St. Paul operated on reduced staffing, and several legislative meetings were postponed due to travel concerns. Firefighters, police officers, and paramedics faced a surge in calls as the storm intensified. Reports included stranded motorists, minor collisions, medical emergencies complicated by travel delays, and requests for welfare checks on elderly residents living alone. In Hennepin County, emergency crews responded to more than 200 weather-related incidents within a 12-hour period. In rural areas, some ambulances required snowplow escorts to reach patients. We're doing everything we can, but the conditions are brutal, said St. Paul Fire Chief Brian Howard. Even with chains on our tires and full winter gear, visibility is so low that every response is a challenge. The National Weather Service, NWS, issued blizzard warnings for much of the state, cautioning that the worst impacts may continue into Friday. Meteorologists noted that the storm's rapid intensification was driven by a strong low-pressure system interacting with unusually cold Arctic air. This is a classic upper Midwest blizzard, but with a modern twist, said NWS meteorologist Dr. Rachel Kim. The temperature gradients are sharper, the wind fields are stronger, and the snowfall rates are more intense than what we typically see. This is the kind of storm that tests every part of our infrastructure.